Trevor Long in New York, in Brooklyn, in fact, as a guest of Samsung at their latest Unpacked event. These events that happen a couple of times a year where they announce brand new products, and 3 new products here in Brooklyn. Firstly, the Galaxy ZFold 7, the Z Flip 7, and new Watch 8. Now, this is a beautiful Watch 8 Classic. I'll come to that in a minute. The real hero of this event is this one here, the Fold 7. Now, last year, the Fold 6 was 12-point-something millimeters thick when folded shut like this. This one, 8.9 millimeters. That means that when it's open, it's just over 4 millimeters thick. That's basically the thickness of the USB port. This is remarkably thin, which makes it far more pocketable. It makes it feel more like a real normal smartphone. In fact, Samsung's talking about this using the word Ultra, which plays onto their Galaxy S25 Ultra series of smartphone, their most popular smartphone in the market, the S25. So this now has a wider front screen, which makes it more like your candy bar traditional smartphones. And then when open up, you've got an 8-inch screen on the inside. Now, a couple of interesting things. It no longer has support for the S Pen. So while there was never an S Pen embedded into the Fold device, you could at least use one on the screen, but no longer. That support is gone to allow them to make the screen technology thinner. And also, they've brought back the camera cutout. So the camera was kind of under the screen before, but essentially they've realized you get a better quality from the camera when it's cut out of the screen, and I don't think it impacts on the screen overall. It is so thin, and it is far more usable, I think, than the previous generations, even though this has been very popular, and Samsung has been doing this now for 7th year. This is the 7th year of the Folds, and they dominate this market. There's only one other Fold in Australia, that's the Pixel, and they dominate this market, I think over 90% share. So the Galaxy Fold 7, that's the first one. Then comes the Flip. Now, the Flip is actually a bigger phone, so it's actually wider than the Flip 6, but it now has a full screen front. So while there was a cutout before, it was kind of like a manila folder shape, and there was black borders around the outside. This now, very much like the Moto series, the Moto Razr series, this now, the screen goes all the way to the edges. In fact, this is the thinnest bezel around a screen Samsung's ever done on a Galaxy device. So while it's not a thinner and lighter and smaller phone, I think this is a far more usable phone in the Australian market, let alone anywhere else. Comes in a couple of colours, and it's a very versatile device. New hinge technology, and there's also going to be an FE version, which is essentially the Flip 6 with the older screen technology, but with some extra smarts. Both those devices have all the Galaxy AI features that Samsung has been pushing quite extensively, and they're obviously relying on that for a lot of the AI battle that's going on. Finally, the watch. This is the Watch 8 Classic. Comes back with the twistable dial, which is great, the bezel. But the number one thing you can do on this, not just measuring your steps, not just measuring your sleep, not just measuring your heart rate, you can now measure whether you've been eating enough veggies. So with an antioxidants measure, you put your thumb on the back through the health app, you can actually get a rating on whether or not you've been eating your veggies. I didn't need to check because I already know I don't, but I got a very low score for that exact reason. So if you think your kids aren't eating their veggies, maybe you can use technology to check that. All 3 of these new devices go on sale in Australia August the 1st. The Galaxy Z Fold 7 will be $2,899, $2,899, probably the most expensive we've seen it. But my information is there's going to be some great deals from the telcos, so look out for those through the pre-orders. The Flip will be $17.99 and the Watch $649.